Hello everyone, I'm Megan Sullivan and welcome to my demo review for Star Ocean: The Second Story R. This slice of the upcoming JRPG remaster by Tri-Ace shadow dropped on a very busy day between a Nintendo Direct and a Sony State of Play, and I'm glad I actually managed to catch it because I was hoping to try the game before it came out. So what do I think of it? I think I like it, which is a bit of a surprise, because to be honest guys, I've tinkered with Star Ocean games before, but they just never vibed with me. But Second Story R won me over with a surprisingly deep skill system, fun combat, nice exploration and world building, and stunning 2.5D graphics. Meaning this is not in fact an HD 2D remake like I initially thought it was. The background environments were made in real-time 3D, and the character sprites were in fact created with a special shading tool to give them both a modern and classic look. So let's start with the visuals because they're the first thing that won me over. I like how Tri-Ace decided to honor the 1998 original by keeping the look and feel of the 2D character sprites and then giving the game's overall aesthetic a glam up with 3D backgrounds. The result is very impressive. The 3D environments, which include a nice draw distance, at least I think so, are bursting with color, are full of stunning light and shadow effects, and objects have wonderful detail, to the point I found myself snooping through people's houses just to admire their decor. Yeah, I know, I watch way too much HGTV. The character sprites are also very cute, and definitely have that 32-bit look about them, which as someone who played a lot of JRPGs back in the 90s, makes me feel a little bit nostalgic. The high quality of the visuals even extends to the clean UI and menu system, which is easy to understand and easy to navigate, plus comes with what I consider to be must-haves for any RPG these days, like a clear and concise tutorial and item and enemy encyclopedias. I also like the mini-map, which helps me navigate the world with its colorful, intuitive icons. Did you hear that, Starfield? People like mini-maps. You should have more of them. If I had been able to look at a mini-map on New Atlantis, I wouldn't have spent 20 minutes running in circles at the lounge trying to find my bedroom. The point is, I'm snobby when it comes to aesthetics in video games, and Star Ocean definitely gets a big thumbs up from me. As does the music. You have a choice of listening to the original synthesized tracks or listening to them in an arranged version, and they're both pleasant to listen to, although I admit I prefer the deeper, richer sound of the arranged version. The soundtrack so far is sweeping and very, very pretty. By the way, while I'm on the subject of sound, fun fact, in the Japanese language version of Star Ocean, you can choose between a couple of different voice options for your main characters. Either new voice recordings from the original Second Story cast, or the original recording from Star Ocean Second Revolution, the PSP remaster from back in the day. I don't know why, I just think that's a fun touch. All these great visuals and melodies make exploration a joy, which is already kind of fun since once you get to the world map, you can move with a tiny bit more freedom than you can in the fairly linear towns and dungeons. Even the normally fixed camera loosens up and lets you conveniently swing it around in a full 360 revolution to get a better view of your bearings, and if you're lost, characters will gently remind you of your next objective. Plus again, mini-map. But you're actually encouraged to go off the beaten path, since the world is full of color-coded treasure chests that indicate the rarity of an item inside, that's nice, shiny markers on the ground that signal a handy bit of world-building lore, and monsters. Lots and lots of monsters. So many monsters. And that brings us to both the lively but sometimes tricky combat and the skill system, which is much deeper than I thought it would be. Combat is action-based, with your characters running around a 3D field attacking, blocking, or evading enemies. Each character has both a normal weapon attack and a number of flashy, hard-hitting specialty attacks, all tied to an MP gauge so you can't spam them, and the idea is to use the right combination of attack, evade, heal, and block to survive monster encounters. It seems simple enough, and to be honest, there were times in Galaxy, i.e. normal mode, where my heroes ended a fight before it really even began, but a lot of the time victory depends on all sorts of factors, especially when you play on Universe mode, the hardest of the game's 3 difficulty modes, which I can tell you is definitely challenging. So, factors that need to be considered are, did you strike first to initiate combat and leave your enemy stunned, or did the enemy stun you? Did you set up the right formation for your group to ensure bonus gauge stage effects that give you an edge in battle? Have you snatched up enough dropped enemy spheres to trigger more bonus effects in battle? Which characters should you manually control, and what type of AI commands should you give the rest of the party to guarantee they don't swoon on the battlefield? Should you spend precious magic points casting one hard-hitting spell or a weaker but far-reaching area of effect spell? Are you able to properly time your blocks when you see an enemy flashing red, which is a great cue by the way? Do you have armor that can have or completely nullify an elemental attack? Or are you wearing the absolute wrong gear in a fight that will ensure getting hit by lightning ends with a game over screen? There's a surprising number of factors to keep track of here, and although I didn't really get to plumb the depths of all these combat mechanics, which remember, I haven't really played the Star Ocean franchise that much, so these are all kind of new to me, I can tell you that so far they're engaging, kind of remind me of the Tales of series, and thus have piqued my interest. Still, even trying to be mindful of all these factors, occasionally enemy encounters are still pretty tough. Luckily, things actually get easier once you start acquiring the right skills off the battlefield. Enter Star Ocean's nifty skill system. In Star Ocean: The Second Story R, there are two types of points you can earn as you explore, fight, and talk your way through the story: battle points and item creation points. Battle points can be used on special arts and spells to improve a character's attacks, or on battle skills to up the chances of them randomly hitting harder or evading attacks more effectively in battle. Each character has an impressive list of skills they can learn and improve upon, although so far you can only equip 2 special skills in combat. I don't know if that goes up later in the game, and deciding how to allocate battle points is a fun challenge. Meanwhile, item crafting points can be spent on improving out-of-battle activities like cooking, which allows characters to make healing, stat-boosting meals, and crafting, which allows you to make jewelry with useful modifiers that can help your characters not die in battle. What's neat is that there's a ton of item creation skills to learn, and each character has their own special talent and sometimes hidden talent, which makes them even better at certain activities. Thus, another layer of welcome strategy is added to the mix whenever you attempt to figure out the most effective way to use all the item creation points you've accumulated. And you're going to accumulate a lot of them because there's a lot of opportunities to do so. Now, I didn't really get to deep dive these because for some reason there's a 3-hour time limit on the demo, but there are main quests, subquests, time subquests, guild missions, challenging missions, etc., etc. So yeah, plenty of ways to earn BP and IC as you journey from point A to point B. Now at this point you're thinking, Megan, you've talked about almost everything but the story and characters. Aren't you going to talk about them? Well, that's because we don't learn a whole lot about them in the demo. It's mostly just background exposition at this point. But here's what I can tell you. So the story is this. A space-traveling Federation officer named Claude C. Kenny, great name, mysteriously finds himself on a new world after foolishly poking a mechanical device on a strange planet. Seriously, that was dumb. While searching for a way home, he comes across a girl named Reina who is convinced Claude is a magical hero who has come to destroy the Sorcery Globe, a meteor that crash-landed on her planet and has unleashed all sorts of hostile monsters into the land. Although Claude demurs and insists he's not a hero, he agrees to help Reina on her quest to save the world as he tries to figure out a way back to his own world. Later, the two will be joined by a variety of characters with their own motivations for traveling with them. And that's the story so far. I can't really comment on how I feel about it because, like I said, it's mostly just background exposition at this point. I do like the cast so far, though. Claude and Reina are happy and wholesome, and I'm intrigued by the mysterious symbologist Celine. And I like the idea of private action events, which are special cutscenes where characters have a chance to bond, and how you interact with your fellow heroes will determine the type of ending you get once the story is completed. I love these types of character-driven moments. They always help flesh out the heroes just a bit more, and because you have some agency in how you respond to certain situations, it feels like you get the opportunity to do just that little bit more of role-playing. In short, I don't know a lot about the story, but I'm digging the characters and I'm curious to see where things go. Overall, Star Ocean: The Second Story R feels like it's going to be a fun RPG adventure. I didn't play the original, so I have no previous emotional attachment to the game, but I enjoy the art, the skill system, the combat, and the effervescent characters. What did you think of the demo? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.